Hello and welcome to part 2. So hopefully in this tutorial we're going to add physics to the obstacle so it falls. We want it to interact with the screen borders, and then we're going to turn that into a prefab. So that's a reusable template if you like. It's going to let us quickly create more obstacles later on. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to show you, if I click play, it's going to load up the game so we can see what that looks like. And you can see there, the obstacle is not moving. Now what we want to do is make that obstacle fall with gravity. So I'm going to click stop. Now what we're going to do is we are going to select the obstacle, and then we're going to, on the right side in the inspection window, we're going to add component. Okay, and what we want to add is a rigid body. We want to make sure we select the rigid body 2D. Okay, so if I press play again, see what happens there. So you can see there the obstacle has just fallen. Okay, but it keeps falling, and that's because it's not colliding with any of the boundaries, the borders that we created. The reason that falls is when we add the rigid body, it automatically applies a gravity scale. So again on the right, you can see automatically it has a 1. So if I was to put that back as a 0, you will see even though it has a rigid body, it's not going to fall because there's no gravity to it. I'm just going to put that back as 1. Okay, so now what we're going to do is add colliders to the obstacle and to our borders. So again, with the obstacle selected, we're going to add the components, and we are going to select the polygon collider 2D. Then what we're going to do is open up our borders, and we are going to select all 4 borders. We're going to add the component. This time we want a box collider 2D. Now if I click play, let's see what that looks like now. So you can see the object has fallen using that gravity rigid body, and it's collided with our borders and it's come to a stop. So that's probably not very fun, is it, right? So in this step, we're now going to create a 2D physics material, and then we're going to apply that to the obstacle, and that's going to give it some bounce so we can see what that looks like. So the first thing we're going to do in the project window where it's got assets, we're going to right click and we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to call that materials. We're going to right click that folder and we're going to go to create 2D and then physics material 2D. Okay, and we can give that a name if you want. So I'll call it physics material, and let's put bouncy. Now if you look on into the inspector window, it already has bounciness. So we're going to put that to 1, and we're going to press enter. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select our obstacle. So again, hopefully now you'll see the obstacle with the 2D rigid body and the collider. And then in our project window, we're going to drag the material into this window. Now we can drag it straight into this section here where it says material under the collider, or we can drag it onto the actual object itself. So I like to pull it in this window, and you can see that it's now there. So now if I click play, let's see what that looks like. And you can see using that gravity, it's now bouncing. Now clearly you can play around with the bounciness, you can add it higher or lower, whatever you want to do. Because it's landed on a flat surface, it's not moving. So if I'm going to press E, the rotation tool, I'm just going to rotate the object slightly, just so you can see how that's going to affect the object if it lands on a slightly off position. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to press stop just to reset that back in. Now that the obstacle behaves the way that you want, it's time to turn it into a prefab. So a prefab's a reusable template asset that stores all the components, the settings, and the hierarchy of a game object. Once you've made that prefab, you can drag out as many copies as you want onto the scene and use them all at once. So what we're going to do for this, just to keep it again nice and tidy, in our project window, we're going to right click assets. And again, we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this one Prefabs. Now once that's done, we're going to click on our obstacle, and again in the inspector window we can see all the additional components that we've added. But to turn that into a prefab is we're going to drag that into one of our folders. So we're going to drag that into the prefabs folder, and it's there now. What you'll see is up at the top, the prefab will turn blue. Now what I can do in the project window is, let's just say I want to add a couple of these. I just keep dragging the same object into the game, and it will already automatically have the same settings that we set the first obstacle. So if I click play, okay, you will now see them bouncing around. So it's just a quick way, once you set that up, you're going to keep using the same object with the same set of conditions. We can create a prefab, and then we can near enough copy and paste it straight into the scene. Okay, so I'm just going to click on stop. Now again, just to keep things tidy, I want all them obstacles in one location. So I'm going to shift and control click, make sure that all selected, including the original. I'm going to right click, and I am going to click create empty parent, and I'm going to call that obstacle. I can spell that right. Okay, so now they're all in a nice folder that I can tidy that away. So again, just to show you that it still works, click on the play. And there we go. Okay, so nice quick and easy tutorial. So you brought your obstacle to life by adding physics, colliders and bounce. And then you turned it into a reusable prefab. So in the next tutorial, we're going to start scripting, giving each obstacle a random size, direction, speed and spin to create a more fun and unpredictable game environment. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.